All right. Good morning, everybody. How is everyone doing? I'm not kidding you. We've got the dream team of leaders here and the dream team of organization. So, do we have the legend, Lars Hedmer? Lars, are you here
Yes,
yet?
he's in the house.
He
He's on
is in
mute.
the house. Okay, cool. Hey, well, thanks for y'all joining. We've got Now Nation. And so if you're new to join into us, um, at Now Nation, we believe that aligned leaders grow faster and more powerfully. And we believe that everyone needs a mindset of opportunity and then strategies that work. So we provide that, and we're super excited to add value and help everyone grow. And so, a couple of housekeeping rules: turn on your cameras and mute, and then use the chat to ask any questions. And so, we've got a rhythm for y'all. So, it's kind of like a basketball season, or we've got different quarters. So, one week is tech and AI, second week is lead generation. That's this week. Third week is systems and process. Then it's client presentation and engagement. And then if there's a fifth week of the month, it's a special guest or attraction. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on our guest here, the legend, Lars Hedenberg. Lars, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing awesome. I don't know what song that was, but I'm fired up. You guys are bringing
Oh,
some freaking heat up in
well,
here.
that's pretty good. Glenn made that for us. Glenn Sanford made that for us. He was our guest the very first week. So he used AI, of course, to come up with that. But Lars, could you share a little bit about yourself? And then let's just jump right into it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's go. A little bit about myself. So I'm a believer in God and
Woo!
Jesus. So that's the first and foremost. I've got a wife of this October 20 years. So I'm just now figuring out that part of my life. Took a couple decades there. I've got a 16-year old and an 18-year-old, 16-year-old daughter. Man, anyone have teenage girl or have been through teenage girls? Okay. So include me in your prayers there. My son is headed to college playing volleyball. I left my corporate job in March 2007. So really cozy corporate job. And man, I don't know if I would have known what was required as a real estate agent, I don't know that I would have left my corporate job. I had a lot on the line. My wife was pregnant at the time. I left a multiple six-figure corporate job to get into real estate. And I figured out like one lead gen strategy at the time. It was Craigslist and an ugly clickable ad on Craigslist. The market was hitting the skids. And I just stuck with one lead source for like 3 years. And I just perfected systems around it. So I sold 27 homes my first 10 months, 44 my first full year. 5 years later, I learned I was a better systems builder than having the patience to work with buyers and sellers. So I went down the leverage route, and I had 10 agents selling 450 plus homes. And then I started a coaching program. I closed my coaching program. So I've got nothing to sell. Literally, there's nothing I'm selling. I closed my coaching company because of the amazing gift, eighth wonder of the world, RevShare, in December 2025. And now I'm just focused on, helping agents that honestly, I'm going to take a different approach today, perhaps. So I'm excited to get into what I know to be, if there's a way to protect your business in the next 5, 7, 10 years, I think what I'm going to share today is going to be that. Not to say that tech isn't going to be part of our businesses. I think it is, but I think going back to the way anyone ever read the book by Gary V? I got away from Gary V for a while because he's just so, I don't know what it was about it, but now I'm like listening to his stuff again, and it's so on point. But one of his books is called Thank You Economy. And the premise of the book, if I remember correctly, is that, either you're bleeding edge and you've got the capital to just do the shit that's required to be like bleeding edge. I'm talking like Zillow kind of money to be bleeding edge. If you're not that and you're a local service business, you got to act like you're in the 1950s. Like, everyone's name, you care about people. And so I'm more convicted of that today with the advent of AI and the slop that's being created as a result of it. Not the song that you sent me this morning, Tom. That song, I'm sure, had AI as a part of it, but that was awesome. But yeah, so that's my deepest conviction now, is that the future of local service businesses, and this is a real estate agent, a landscaping company, whatever crap you're selling to a geographic whatever, is going to come down to the quality of the relationships and how you treat people. And that's what I'm going to spend time on today.
Awesome. Well, let's get rolling, man. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good enough setup. I'm going to give one example, and the asterisk on this example is not, what's the disclaimer when you put out your best example of something? It's like, not all results apply, or I forget what it is, but what I'm going to teach you today has the ability to scale to whatever level you want to sell real estate. So I actually just got off a call with a guy that I coached back in the day. We were talking about the first time I got my coaching clients together. There were only 14 of us in a room. So I think I did like 16 live events. There were 14. He was one of the 14, him and his wife. And back then, before his wife joined him, I think he sold 13 homes. Last year, they closed like 957 homes. Double, so multiple seven-figure net income. So he runs it on a profitable economic model. 60% of those 900 plus transactions are generated from the two things I'm going to try to teach you today. It's technically three things. But here's the thing I hope everyone can realize, because let me show you. Does anyone know what this is? Get in the chat. Yeah, so get in the chat if you can give me a technical definition to what this is in business. Yeah, deemed reliable. I like deemed reliable, not guaranteed. All right, I'm going to wait until the chat lights up with what's your perception of what this is in your business. Give me the business definition. Squirrel with a nut is what it is. Like, that's the actual thing. Distraction. Yes. Well, protecting the one thing. I like that, Jackie. ADHD for sure. Business ADHD. So we tend to get distracted by everything. Like, if you have an entrepreneurial mind, like our DNA is, it is like we're quick to change directions. And so there's a movie where it's like an actual dog that chases squirrels. And that is the kiss of death in business. So the reason why this guy was able to sell 60% of his business from the two things I'm going to teach today is that he just didn't change it. It's like you need to have enough conviction around how you're going to generate business for you to stick on that thing for as long as possible to get the result that you're looking for. And that's like the overarching kind of business lesson. If I have any business lesson for anyone after all the mistakes that I've made, having the kind of quick start, low follow through personality that most of us have. If you're like an entrepreneurial person, you are quick to start something, but then the follow through is not there. And then you start another thing and then there's no follow through. So that's the warning on this, is that this will generate as many deals as you want it to every month if you stick with what I'm about to teach you. And that's the first thing. The second thing is, I promise you what I'm going to teach you today, you already have heard before. So that's like the boring part of this. And Tom actually sent me over a topic. I'm going to pick on Tom for a second. Sent me over a topic that I said, there's no effing way I'm going to teach on that thing. And I'm going to call Tom out here because it sounded awesome. I'm like, I want to learn about that, but I cannot teach anyone that. He said, this was the topic. how to take 7 listings in 7 days or something like that. I'm like, I mean, maybe it's possible. I don't know if it's possible. There might be someone else that can teach it, but it's that sort of, and I know Tom can handle it. It's that mentality that I think has us spinning out. Like there's so much, and this is in all life, there's so much that's sensationalized about whatever, like 7-minute abs, or like fix your best sex life ever in like a weekend, or after 20 years of drifting your marriage, you're going to correct it in a weekend. Like a lot of ridiculous promises are out there, and the things that are going to give you a 10-year plus run to whatever production level that you want to get to are the things that you can just consistently do day in and day out. And remind me at the end, I want to give you guys a tool that you can use daily in your, well, daily, weekly, quarterly in your business to be able to make sure you do the things I'm going to go through today. And then if you do it for a few quarters, whatever level of production you're at, you'll get more business without paying for leads, all that stuff. How many do we have on here now? 39. Okay. Let me ask you this question. How many of you have, in the last 6 months, so in 2026, you've spent money on something that sounded really good and then it didn't deliver? Yes or no in the thread. Go in the chat thread. I want to see yes or no. Everyone answer. So I need 39 answers. Yes, yes. Brenton, no. Yes, 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 yes. A few. That's really, yeah. It's like, talk about, yeah. So I kind of said it, the promises, we want to believe that there's an easy button, and there's not an easy button. And now more than ever, if you put AI into anything, you're going to believe that that thing is like, well, certainly I need to do AI. And this thing is promising, that, that it has AI, and I don't know how to use AI. And so this is going to be the holy grail. All right. So for those of you that actually do the daily work that I'm going to lay out today, you will see your business pivot over time. Do you guys mind sharing what production level you guys are at in the chat? Like last 12 months, are roughly the amount of deals that you guys are doing. I want to get a sense of where you guys are at. No shame, no blame. Everyone's at a different 30 deals. Awesome. There's got to be some people that are like 2 to 5 deals and you want to quadruple your business. That's really good too. 25, 7, 14, 15, 3 in the last year. Here's the crazy stat. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it's a small percentage of agents that sell over 25 homes a year. At one point, this is pre the kind of wonky unit recession that we've been in for 3 years. Before that, it was 1.8% of agents sold 25 homes or more in the last 12 months. It's got to be lower now. I don't know the exact statistics. NAR won't really publish meaningful data because it doesn't really look that great upon them. So a lot of times, we compare ourselves against, people that are selling 50 homes a year, but that is such a small sliver of the agent population. So just make sure you don't get caught up in this comparison trap. If you're at 5 deals now and you want to get to 20 deals, this can take you there. There's no money to spend. There's no door knocking or cold calling. I've always been an attraction-based marketer. So let me get into it. I'm going to lay out 4 things that I want to take you through. I've got some slides that I'll go through that'll help us frame it. But these 4 things will allow you to get to multiples of the highest production level that was just presented in the chat. So if you're at 60, there are different things I would teach Courtney at 60 going to 120, because Courtney may not have the leverage to go to 120. So she might lose her life, marriage, whatever in the process. But you can use these things to get to whatever level you want to get to. So number 1 is database touch blueprint. And I'm going to lay out exactly what it is. Everyone knows that there's a database. I'm going to teach it in a way where you can actually expand on it regularly. Then number 2 is agent brand authority. So brand authority builder is kind of what we talk. It's your digital footprint. Number 3 is social proof. And then number 4, I call it client care compound effect. But number 4 is client care compound effect. So getting a client, at least one additional closing from every client you work with. So thinking about how would you design your client care process to automatically get another closing just because you execute the process that you've laid out beforehand. And the proof is that if you stick with these things and you use the tool that I give you at the end, you will be able to scale your business. You'll have all the leverage and systems building that needs to happen along the way, but these are the lead gen levers. And there are plenty of other lead gen levers that work. We teach Expired direct response and FSBO direct response and all that good stuff. Yeah, and it scales, and it's just an easy way. What did Kelly say? Wasted a lot of time with bozos. Yeah, that's just a good life lesson right there. Don't spend time with bozos. That's a good one. All right, so let me pull up some slides here so you guys can definitely leave with some good stuff. If you guys can tell me, let me see if I can share here. Yep, perfect. I'm gonna share a tab. So I don't have 2 screens, so I have to just share a tab here. Window, Canva. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to do it a little bit less like a presentation, just so I can kind of hop around here. This is just a helpful visual. Like I feel like if you're doing any screenshots, this is something that's worth screenshotting. In a given market, there are a ton of people that don't know you. And the whole goal, and this goes back to, not that I only was with Keller Williams for 4 years, and it was later on in my journey. Oops, someone's unmuted. But if you think about the Mets and not anybody read MREA, I listened to it like a dozen times when I was in real estate. It was on little CDs that I listened to in my car. It's the Mets and not Mets. So the whole goal here is that a lot of agents spend all of their waking hours in terms of lead gen focusing on spending money to get in front of people that don't know you, and they don't do anything on the right-hand side, or they don't do enough on the right-hand side to do the work required to scale their business from their database and from their digital footprint. And so the shift here is that anything you do on the left side, in terms of people that don't know you, and these are other lead gen levers that work, and we have them built out and all that stuff. But if you're holding an open house, you're holding it for the purpose of building your database. You hope to get a buyer or seller, and we have systems to do that. But you're trying to build your database of people that actually know, like, and trust you. And I know you guys have heard this shit, and you're probably thinking like, oh man, I was hoping for some holy grail here.
Colorful language.
What's that? Oh, I thought someone said something. Yeah, so if someone said foul language, I'll try not to curse. I thought I heard foul language in there. So I eventually, occasionally I drop the S word. Okay, so, and then once they know you, like what would you have to do? Like if I did a transaction with Courtney, like outside of just providing an amazing service, how would I treat that relationship going forward in a way where Courtney doesn't feel assaulted every month asking for referrals, like a genuine ongoing relationship? So all of your database touches, we teach a 60 touch system, so there's a combination of touches. We've tested what Gary had, the 33 touch. We found that 33 touches didn't produce the result that we were looking for. And this is over like multiple thousands of clients that we've worked with on these systems. So 60 touches where I think you need to settle out. And the tool I'll give you at the end has one meaningful touch a week to your database, and something that can compete with everything else that's out there competing for their attention. So that's the level, that's the standard that we're looking for in terms of anything we put out. It has to be able to compete with anything else that's going to capture their attention. So if you're doing a 3 to 5 minute video and it's like spring cleaning tips, and you watch it yourself and you're like, this does not do anything. Like, people might want to hear Courtney tell a story, and I'm only picking on Courtney because like center of my screen. They would much rather hear like how Courtney barely got out of the house because her dog pooped on the rug and her kid like didn't put the right outfit on, or was half dressed, or, had a fight with her spouse. I don't know if she's married. would much rather hear a legit story about that than like any sort of scripted, polished anything about real estate or maintaining a home. I'm not saying that other stuff doesn't matter, but people want to get to know the person versus the thing. So the lens of Database Touch Blueprint is through that. I wish I could find this, but there was, and you guys might know who this is. I saw I forget who put it on, if it was Place or if it was a brokerage. They interviewed an agent that was a single mom, two young kids with two different dads, and got her real estate license and low education level. So no, this isn't a person that you would think could just come in and kick ass in real estate. And she sold in her first 4 years. She basically took the approach like, I'm just going to tell my story as I do life and business. And it's like 400 transactions in the first 4 years. And this person had no reason from the outside looking in to be able to do this, but she just brought like the reality of being a single, like people wanted her to win. And so that's just a lesson in like, we tend to hide those things versus just show. You'd be way better off if your touches were more like actual real stuff that's going on in your business. You know, like my spouse got pissed off because I had to negotiate an offer and I left our 20th anniversary dinner to do it, like major, marriage fail. That's more interesting than anything else you can put out that like, and anytime you pay a monthly fee for someone to create content for you, that stuff is not working. It is so watered down. It's so generic. Nobody cares about it. They're not going to want to come into your life and be part of your story going forward. So Database Touch Blueprint, it's a combination of, we're getting a lot of success on video texts. So personal, if you have to reach out to your database, you could do a phone call, but I think it's more personal. Well, maybe not more personal, but it's more efficient, and people don't receive a lot of meaningful, video messages. And for RevShare, I think everyone's an EXP here. For RevShare, I added 10 agents to my front line in 3 months via video texting. And these weren't agents that I had a great relationship with, but I knew their first name. I knew it was, it's like 95% of real estate agents have iPhones. And I have an iPhone. There's no judgment against non-iPhones, but when you have an iPhone and you send a video message, it's like you're going to share your contact card with them automatically. You're going to show up as like, well, when you text somebody that's not iPhone and you're like, why is it green? Why can't I send them a GIF? It's like, what is going on? So that's like a not scalable, but really efficient way to reach out to people. And it could be like, hey, Courtney, it's been a minute since we chatted. I'm doubling down on just, really serving my most important relationships. I know we had an awesome time working together a few years ago. I saw this short on YouTube that made me think of you. It was just something that encouraged me today, and I thought I would share it with you. And then that's your video message or an audio message. And then you're just dropping something. And it's the same thing for everybody. It's just an encouraging YouTube short that you actually saw. So those are the kinds of touches that you want to lean toward. What's another good example? We're still finding giveaways are creating a lot of momentum. So, July 4th passed, but it would have been like a Yeti cooler giveaway. 6 a year. They're paid for by vendors. And you just like do Facebook Lives around them. You can email your database. And it's just, you're giving away like $800 worth of stuff, but your lenders have a different pile of money for sponsorships than they do. Like, I don't even know if RESPA is a thing anymore, or paying for leads is a thing, but they have a different pool of money to be able to pay for sponsorships. People do a shred. What do they call it? A shred. Like a coffee shredder with not a coffee shredder, a paper shredding event with a coffee truck. It's under $1,000. It's typically maybe you're live in the neighborhood you're trying to farm. It's stuff like that that's doing, or at your office, have people come by your office, and it could be a dump or donate. So you're bringing either stuff that's going to end up in the dump truck of the small local um, provider of dump services. They bring a thing for free, or you're going to donate and you just have a place that will bring a truck for free to a location for a few hours to donate. You can get 2 months of traction out of that. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a PS, or you're posting it and you're only providing value. So different things like that. What in the fall, a fire pit giveaway. I just bought one of I forget what brand it is. It's a smokeless fire pit, and with Adirondack chairs. And I got these Adirondack chairs on Amazon, super nice, 4 of them for like, I want to say like $200. And the fire pit, it's, what is it? Well, anyway, you could Google it, but anyway, for less than $600.
Solo stove, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's awesome. It's like super awesome.
So Lars, quick question. Are you talking about live events or online events? Maybe we can unpack that real quick. For maybe a new agent that's just getting rolling, what's a quick, simple way that they can engage with an event?
Well, events, we got away from events because they're very pricey. Giveaways are more like, all you need is a place to host a giveaway, which could be in a neighborhood, or it could be at an office somewhere. It could be at your lender's office, your title, your attorney's office. And most lenders, even if you're a newer agent, I mean, it's a little tougher there because you may not have the collateral with them. But yeah, it's just committing to the process of doing them. So if your overarching goal with your database, and I'll tell you guys how to build it here in a second, is to do 60 touches that are meaningful, valuable, that bring people closer to you. I think giveaways are part of them every other month, so 6 a year. And it's not hard to come up with ideas, but then you're emailing, you're texting. I love print. I love postcards because they are 100% open rate, so you can do some, and because you're doing it with a giveaway in mind, you can get your lender to pay for that as well. But it's more committing to the process. And so let me step back. The advice I would give a newer agent is that if you're starting with a database of 0, and when I give you this tool at the end, it'll come together, the activities that I want you guys to do every day to implement what I'm teaching you here. If you're starting with a database of 0, and I challenged you, by the end of 12 months from now, you have to have 250 people in your database that know you, like you, and trust you. Every week, your only goal, cash flow aside, because I know cash flow is an issue, so let's put that aside for now. You only have to add 5 people to your database every week. But nobody thinks of it that way. There's a process to build your database, and there's a cheat sheet, everyone you put in your database, but keeping the progress going in your database and adding fresh names to it, I feel like that is something that people forget. And so on the sheet that I'm going to give you, it's a Google sheet that I'll share with you guys. It's a daily process of how many people did you add to your database today. And it's not hard to think. Even an open house could add, the process leading up to an open house and door knocking 100 doors and introducing yourself to existing sellers. And then, the signage and the digital aspect of an open house, you could easily add 10 people to your database a week just by hosting 1 or 2 open houses a week. So again, it's taking everything from the left side and funneling it into the right side of that graphic that I just showed you guys, or I think I'm still showing.
So Lars, real quick. So just like, in a World Cup match, the magic really happens, before the event and after the event, because the match is only 90 minutes. Maybe you could share a little bit about that.
In terms of just impressions so yeah, let's say somebody doesn't even participate in the actual giveaway. You still have the opportunity to leave an audio text with everyone in your database. Say, hey, listen, Jackie, It is summertime. Every year we do a Yeti cooler giveaway. I just wanted to let you know the raffle is happening on July 4th. I'm going to go live on Facebook leading up to that. I just want to let you know, here's kind of the ground rules of how it's working. It's not a very complicated process. So, but it's a touch. It's you being top of mind and adding value in that person's life. And they've also received all this other valuable stuff from you, encouragement with a YouTube short and, you showing up live, and I'll get into digital footprint, but you showing up on your socials as a real person and not a polished real estate agent. So that's the backdrop of all of this. And then you're hitting them with value along the way.
Hey,
And
Lars,
anyone,
on that, I kind of had an aha with this because client gifts and all that stuff is great. I love the giveaway because you can market it too and then market it after, celebrate the winner. But the solo stove and the 4 Adirondack chairs, that's brilliant because every time they sit there, every time they have friends over, every time they have a fire, they're going to be thinking of you, We talked about
yeah,
those closing gifts that like plants and stuff that live a long time potentially. I kill plants, but I love the idea. You could probably get those chairs for $200. You said the stove's $200, $300 max. So for $500, you've got a giveaway that you can impact with hundreds of people, celebrate the winner to hundreds of people. And then that person that wins it as well has got literally years of complimentary thank you to you. So I think that's a brilliant gift item.
yeah. And you didn't pay for it, and you could probably get your
Yeah,
lender to.
exactly. You can get the lender to pay half or all of it, or I just really like that idea.
Yeah. And the only way it doesn't work is if you don't do it consistently. So on anything that I'll teach you, it's the heavier lifting part of building any business, but it's the only part that's going to have a life of a decade. We did a call, and I was actually driving at the time. Stacy Peterson, I don't know if you guys know her, but she's an EXP. She was doing a training to our bigger group, and I wasn't there, but I was listening in because I was driving. And a guy came on, has no business, new to real estate. He signed up for Fast Cap, which like the average is you'll have 7 clients at the end of Fast Cap. It's a 6-week production accelerator. He went to the first meeting and he's like, I got the gist of it. And he was looking for the next thing. And he's sitting here with no business asking us, how do you get business? Like, so anything works if you treat it as if it's going to work and you stay with it. My point in telling that story is that, this process of building a database, it's not the sexiest thing, but if your life depended on you having 500 people in your database that know you, like you, and trust you by the end of 12 months from now, I guarantee you would do it. You'd probably have 1,000, right? Because you wouldn't want to leave it to chance that, that's a dramatic example, but a lot of us just don't treat these things like they're that important, or we get distracted with other things. All right. We only have 10 minutes left? I thought we had an hour.
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
All right, I got to hurry up then. All right, so if all you had was database touch blueprint, everyone that you have any kind of meaningful relationship with funnels into your database touch system. And you can go to ChatGPT and take some of the concepts that we've talked about in terms of content and whatnot, and just come up with a committed every week. At a minimum, you're going to put out one thing that's engaging and people will want to know about, probably a little bit farther from you getting out of your comfort zone on some of this stuff. Digital footprint. So brand authority builder is if your database is 250 people that would go out of their way to stop a stranger in a restaurant when they hear the word real estate. That's your core database of 250. 10 to 15% of a core database that is treated the right way will turn into a transaction. So if you have 250, that should generate 37 deals. If you're at 500, that should generate what's 15% of 500 is what? I can't think right now. 75 deals. So that's the metric. Like if your database isn't generating 10 to 15%, you're not doing database touch the right way. Digital footprint could be 10 times larger than your database. And it's the same sort of thing. We have a 555 that I'll go through here in a second because I want to get to the tool that I want to share with you guys, give you a copy of it. It is putting stuff out. So we definitely want to put a post out every day on the platform of your choice. If you love Instagram, but your people that have multiple homes to sell and a lot of money are on Facebook, you're probably running what I'm going to teach you, the 555, on Facebook and maybe not Instagram. If you love Instagram and that's your jam, we have, I won't say younger, but there's this agent in my organization. I think she's like under 30 years old or something. She did 81 transactions last year and 37 were from her business Instagram account. And she literally just documents her day and the insanity of being a real estate agent and trying to have a life outside of real estate and just documenting that has people wanting to help her. Right? So just pick a single platform and you're putting out one piece of content every day, not AI slop. It's probably more toward Courtney saying how much of a crap show her morning was, with all the moving parts of doing the trifecta of insanity, being married, having kids, and being a real estate agent. Right? If you funnel through, and then maybe one other interest, fitness or faith or something else that interests you. If you cycle between those 4 topics every time you put something online every day, and you're honest about it, and you show the not so polished parts of you, you will develop a database online. So people that know, like, and trust you, and they will go out of their way to send people to you. And that's the same approach that we want to do on your digital footprint. And it's a consistency thing. Sometimes it'll just be a long, more of a text version. Sometimes if you're uncomfortable with video, you definitely need to do video. And you're just letting people see you as a person that cares, that has struggles and challenges. And so it's not overly complicated. So the 555 is, always forget the fifth one, the third 5. It is engaging with 5 people. Like, they posted something and you're putting a meaningful comment, not a thumbs up or a heart, like an actual meaningful comment. It's 5 direct messages to people that, hey, I just saw your kid graduated and, tear emoji. I'm going through the same thing, or I'm one year behind you. I can't imagine what it's going to be like. And that's probably for me, it would be on Messenger and it would be audio. Here is the ultimate hack. Go through the birthdays every day. Everyone that lives local and has a birthday, sing happy birthday to them. I am telling you, I put together a business partnership. I'm birthing a separate rev share organization with a guy that I hadn't talked to maybe ever, but we kind of knew each other. He's super high in like top team at EXP, and I sang him happy birthday, and we're now building a rev share organization together. Because I'm not even a good singer, but it's like now I bring my wife in on it, and it's like this whole thing. So that's like something that if you did that one thing consistently, sang happy birthday to everyone who lived local that came up in your birthday 7 days a week for the next 2 or 3 years, you'd get more business from that one thing than anything else. But we're just always on to the next thing. Post something meaningful every day. I'm going to share, I want to give you guys this tool, which will kind of put it all together. And for those of you that use it, you will absolutely dominate this. So I'm not going to teach the other 2. Social proof is just driving everyone to your Google review page. I started that system when we had like 40 Google reviews. I sold my real estate team when I came into EXP, but there are over 3,000 Google reviews. I just had lunch with my business partner that I sold to. He said of anything that I took from our business partnership and him buying me out, it was the fact that I said, F Zillow. We're not playing the game of like Zillow reviews and putting our chips in that basket because this is pre-Zillow Flex and them like wanting as much of it was like, we're not doing that. We're going into Google reviews. I want to put my money on Google. They get most of their business now organically on Google. So if you Google best agent in your zip code, if you're not on there, coming up in the feed, you're probably losing the game of social proof. And then the fourth thing I was going to teach you, it's not rocket science. Design a client care process like intentionally, that the only byproduct of it is that they're going to send business to you without you having to ask for it. And just think about it, like, okay, what would someone want to have happen, like when they sign the listing agreement, whatever you send them, or a voice message or a video text or whatever, when they go under contract, or when we get to have a difficult conversation, what do I want to send them afterwards? Like, develop it in advance, and you can even get leverage with an admin to execute it. And then you measure like how much of your business is coming from just client care. So that's the fourth thing. But let me share this one tool, because I want you guys to actually use this. Let me stop my share. And I thought we had an hour, so hopefully this has been helpful. Let me share my screen. All right, let me share that window. Where the heck did you guys go? Oh, there you are. All right, I'm going to share the entire screen, and then I'm going to go over here. Can everyone see the dashboard here?
Yes.
All right, let me get you the actual code here. So this should open up. I'm going to put it in the chat. This should open up into a Google Sheet to make a copy of it. I just put it in the chat. Everyone click on that. I've already made a copy of it. There's two tabs here. I'm not going to go over the production tracker, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Those are the metrics you want to track in your production business. The first tab here is, before I shut down my coaching company, we had a 90-day, $10,000 program. And this is essentially what we helped them build out. So database touch blueprint, brand authority builder, some productivity time management stuff, and then some personal wellness stuff on the right here. Each of these, so if you click on honored time blocks, is your calendar time blocked, and did you honor those time blocks? It's a click, yes or no. Daily top 3. Did you predetermine and tackle your top 3 most important tasks to move your business forward today? Yes or no. Did you track your numbers today? Yes or no. And every week, did you do a weekly planning session? 30 to 60 minutes, you answer these 3 questions. It's not rocket science. So database touch blueprint, this is literally where your database is, people that know, like, and trust you. What number did you start the quarter at? And this, you put in the date here on the left. Cell A5 is the first Monday of the quarter. So if you were doing, what's Monday, 7/13 or 7/13, you put 7/13 in here, and everything else reorders from there. So what's your starting database? And then all you're doing every day is, how many people did I add to my database? And you're just putting in that number. So if you started at 78 and you added 2, and then you added 3, and then you added 1, and then 0, and then 2, and then 6, and then 8, you went from 78 to 100 in 1 week. And you did your weekly touch check mark. That's what I talked about. This is the entire database touch blueprint. And it only works if you stay with the consistency. And then the brand authority builder. Did you post something on social? Just the way I described it. The more personal and revealing of how your real life is, the better. People are going to engage more than anything else. And then the 5-5-5, I described it here. So 5 post likes, 5 wall posts, and 5 personal messages. And then Google reviews. How many Google reviews did you get today? And you should be asking everybody. And then we have some stuff around reading a nonfiction nonfiction book, your biology, did you sleep well, balance, did you meditate or journal, and then did you review your goals and your vision? So these are just check marks. And you can change any of this into any whatever you want. My parting thought here is, I don't care what you track and what you commit to, because it can all work. But I have just found that if you can, you could maybe do it on Sisu. So if you can have like custom, I don't care where you do this, the more complicated, the harder it is to do. So having just a simple dashboard where it's just check marks, and like if I could do these things consistently, you can change it. Maybe you do something different on social media. I don't care what those columns are, but your conviction has to be so high that these are the right things I'm going to do every day. And if I can just stay consistent, it's going to bear the fruit that I'm looking for. That's the entire game of business. It's going to take longer than you want. There are going to be days where you don't feel like doing any of it. And those days you still have to do it. So, yeah, I like putting stuff in a Google sheet. My wife got me, a mug that says, like there's a spreadsheet for that or something. I proposed to my wife in a PowerPoint presentation. Like legit, I did. I think it was more like a video because it, had a play button and it had music behind it, but it was a PowerPoint presentation. She still reminds me of that, but it worked. Like I got all my thoughts across. It's very organized. It had a question at the end. It's great. So anyway, so that's all I've got for you guys. Hopefully you guys got that link. It could be whatever you commit to, but just the more you commit to the daily task that is not scalable. I feel like solo agents that are selling 20 homes are looking for an AI thing that can scale their business to 100 deals. I think that's just a loser's game. Like I think getting to 50 to 75 deals with a lot of leverage and a lot of systems built out, you can bank 30,000 a month in savings if you're selling 50 to 75 homes, and not wasting your money on crap that doesn't return. So I don't have any other appointments today. So I have time for questions if anyone has any questions or comments or anything.
Well, my comment is thank you so much. And what I really like is the scoreboard. I mean, the focus on the daily activities because that's what's going to move the scoreboard. The lead measures are what we need to focus on. So many agents just, hey, I want to have a big goal. This is my big goal. They pick a number, but it's the daily activities that is going to move the needle. And plus, our database is quite frankly, it's the only tangible asset that we really have in this business. So who else has a comment or a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add that what I heard Lars say is that I know that AI is really the sexy thing and the talk of the town right now, but it's actually making relationships more important than ever. And we can go back to that famous quote from Stephen Covey, which is be efficient with things, not with people. And that's what I hear him saying is actually do the things that take a little more effort rather than a text, do a video text, right? Or at least a voice text, right? So incrementally move towards personalization and building those relationships, and then you'll be remembered when the time comes.
Yeah. And this is coming from a guy that has viewed business as a system of systems, and how can I get me away from some of those things? And I think God has just been working on me. And I think the only thing that's going to matter in the future, when there are literally going to be robots cleaning my home and robots that you can have conversations with, and your counselor is going to be like an app, like I think we're going to be so disconnected from people that the doubling down in business has to be relationships.
That's right.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, think to yourself, how do I have 5 people that are really out there, have my back, maybe losing a little bit of sleep over my personal welfare? If you do, you are a very rich person. So be that for someone else. Be that person for them, and you'll be forever grateful.
And sing happy birthday to everyone on their birthday. I promise. And the worse you are, the better. I drag my wife into it. If we know the person together, we do it together. And I pause awkwardly in moments and I bring it up and down, and she's like, "You're an idiot." And she says it out loud. I'm like, that's even better. So that'll work. I know Jackie's all over that. She's going to be singing happy birthday.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of Jackie, who do we have next week?
Thank you so much, Lars. It's such a reminder that we were meant for connection. And I was just thinking as AI gets more predominant, the connection gets less and less out there. And I think that's what the opportunity we have as service providers. So yes, next week, you guys, Carrie Lisinko is coming. She is the Chief Technology Officer for all of EXP. And she's going to be, because next week is our systems and processes week, she's going to be sharing a couple and diving deep into a couple of systems that you probably don't know about that will definitely help your business. So please come next week. Carrie Lisinko, Chief Technology Officer, will be featuring a few systems for us that I know will make a difference for your business.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Lars. Thanks, y'all, for joining us. Invite others, man. This is every week at 10 a.m. Pacific, and we are here to share and to have a mindset of opportunity. There's a ton of opportunity, and then also strategies and tactics that work. Invite others. They don't have to be with EXP, just add value. So thanks again. Thanks, Lars. Thank you, everyone. Now you all got your inspiration. Time to put in the perspiration. Have a good week. Thank you, guys. See ya. Bye now.